The Crow 2024. It isn't good, it isn't bad, but more of a fun bad movie with some baller action scenes that are sparse here and there. There's not too many of them, but the last one was especially good and creative and fun. The original movie had a lot of depth, emotion, and care to it because it was such a wonderful, powerful story that was just sad as hell. So, the reason I say this movie has an identity crisis is because it's trying to be like The Crow, the original, but also trying to be something entirely different in terms of story and complexity. It's trying to be too much, and I think that's one of its downfalls. If they were to have made this like an entirely unique story with different character names and, overall characters, it would have been received better than how it did before, because remaking a cult classic doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, especially when, when it comes out, it's not at the same level as said cult classic. So if this movie had the balls, the chutzpah, the confidence enough to stand on its own two legs by itself and not rely on, an established story that everybody loved from the original Crow series, then I think a lot of people would have been more open to it. Even if the movie had changed things around and, added and made like the whole Crow power, like, all complex and stuff, I think a lot of people would have been like, this is a cool take on like, a cult classic when it came to the story, but just don't touch the overall, like aesthetic and not aesthetic, like the whole story, like the original story of The Crow with Shelley and Eric, because that one is a cult classic for a reason. And even if like the original movie, it did change a few things from the comics, it still remained pretty faithful to it, unlike this movie. All right. Let's just stop comparing like the two movies, please. And let's just talk about the actual movie. I'll be talking about spoilers because, that's what we do here, baby, on this channel. That's what we do. And if you enjoy it, if you enjoy me talking shit about the movies and enthusiastically talking about movies I like, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and then, like the video, share, it helps support the channel, and thank you so much. Now, the movie opens up with Eric as a kid trying to help a horse in barbed wire for some reason. And, he cuts himself there. And at the same time, I feel like his mother, who's in the trailer, like in the foreground, like in the foreground, in the background, is dead because there's a bunch of like crows like sitting on the trailer. I don't know if she's like high, dead, or, whatever, right? But it just signals that, Eric didn't have a really good childhood, right? Then it cuts to Shelley waking up from a call from her friend, who I don't even know the name of, right? Because she doesn't really fucking matter, really. And, she's freaking out over a video and, it's an important part of the plot and blah, blah, blah. That same friend gets captured because the video is incriminating somehow, I guess. Like it's more incriminating towards, Shelley, but the big bad and, wants this video erased or, for it not to go out into the public, right? So, it was sent to Shelley and, it was made by another male friend named Dom, and the big bad, some CEO motherfucker who we later finds out, kills the female friend. And, I can't remember her name, but because she's not really important, she just, her corpse is found later on in the movie, and, it just, doesn't really do anything. It just sets things in motion, really. And that's really it. We find out that the CEO guy made a deal with the devil to kill innocents so he can stay immortal. And, whisper in people's ear to make them kill themselves for said immortality. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess. I would think, as somebody who would obviously see a person who has a deal with the devil, I would think they would be more powerful than that. Yeah. No. Like, he just sort of whispers in your ear and basically tells you to kill yourself. Like, I'm pretty sure he can just control like what you do. He just needs to whisper in your ear for some reason. And yeah, like he just uses it just to make people kill themselves, and it's never really utilized that much, right? So for some goddamn reason, he doesn't have any other powers, any other enchantments, or, super strength or nothing. He just hits you with the, hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear, and give you the whole ear harassment, which just gets you to kill yourself. And that's about it about his fucking powers. It's so fucking dumb. More on that later. So Shelley tries to run away, and as of now, the big bad's goons are trying to, find her and kill her or something, get the copy of the video she has with the specific phone. But she gets grabbed by some cops and sent to rehab. And, that's where she meets Eric, who apparently everyone hates for some reason. Like, they don't really fuck with him. I don't know why, but, like even if like the apparent like yelling in his face was just an exercise, it's pretty evident that no one fucks with him because no one sits with him. The security guards don't fuck with him like that. It's just an odd, feature to show, I guess, that he has like a shitty life, I suppose. This is where I guess like the sparks are flying between Eric and Shelly, and interest are being aligned. I, it's so it's so fucking dumb. I guess like she sat right next to him, start eating food, say, "Oh yeah, no one likes you in here, right?" And he's like, "I guess." And then like he starts complimenting her one of her tattoos, like the laugh now, cry later, and he's like, "Oh, um, well, for me, it's more like cry now, cry later." And then I was just like, "Oh my god, is this is this really his one-liner game? Like what's going on here?" And then she visits his room and she sees a drawing of her naked with an emphasis on her chest, on her tits, which yeah, somehow like rizzes her up. So I guess that's a win. So with that being said, Shelly's mom, knew she was there because I guess she was contacted or for insurance. I don't fucking know. And the big bad cronies who control her, or has given, like, the CEO has given her this lifestyle and stuff that she appreciates and loves, and very begrudgingly reveal Shelly's location. And Shelly realized has been cornered, and then that's when Eric like guides her to some place to where they escape together. And yeah, they go to one of Shelly's friends' place, and they just start having sex, doing tons of drugs, more sex, drinking, more sex. And it's not like Shelly's being chased by anything, right? Like by some guy who can control you with just whispers, and doesn't have like powerful friends, and people that will hunt people down and kill people, right? They're not being hunted, right? It's just such a weird like decision to like to say fuck the whole chasing and everything. Like, they're just living in the moment, I guess, even though she is apparently scared to death about the whole situation, but I guess not anymore. So during the first, like, the first act, I guess, of the movie, they're trying to establish Eric and Shelly's relationship, even though I guess like they've only like been together for maybe like a week or two or something like that. Showing like how in love they are, even going on trips with, I assume, Shelly's friends, because Eric doesn't have any friends until like he meets like I guess his tattoo artist that did all like the whole bathroom stall graffiti on his whole body or whatever. And yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know how they're funding this, or maybe like they have rich friends, whatever, right? I just feel like the romance works to an extent, but dear God, the dialogue hurts my fucking soul sometimes. Like how Shelly said, if you find it hard to love me harder. And I wanted to throw my fucking phone at the screen, because what the fuck is that? This movie is trying to be deep in dialogue between two people in love, but for the most part, it just sounds cringy and just surface level intimate. I think if they had just been together for a few years after they escaped and went to another city, making music, because they actually do make it a point in this movie where they both are very much into music. Like Eric is more into like the art and like the songwriting, and Shelly is more into like she can do like songwriting too, but more into the singing and the actual performing, like also playing music as well, on instruments as well, because the actress is an actual fucking artist. So it would have been really cool if they just incorporated her skills into the movie and have it to where they made original music for this movie here, and have like the actual songs playing in the movie be part of the actual story, to where it's being played everywhere, and even in Eric's head when he's the crow. And it gives him more motivation to keep going on. And especially since they're popular artists, they would be on the big bad's radar because of course they're getting, noticed by everybody. So I think that would make incredible sense if they went that route. Like, come on now. It would have been fire as fuck if, during the Crow part of the movie when he's killing people and stuff, like the background music is Shelly singing, which, drives him further into his whole revenge and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It would have been really fun and interesting to see that, to feel that, to, experience like this whole journey of, enacting justice with, the woman he loves, like voice in the background and, being played in random like radios and, CDs, maybe even have like a rave sequence where like, they're playing her song and, because they everybody recently found out that she has been murdered and everyone's playing her music and it's sort of like fucking him up in the head, and it shows like scenes and stuff, like, flashbacks to them going ahead and living their life. It could have been really interesting, but again, they didn't do that. So back to the movie. Eventually Dom, the guy who recorded the actual video, finds Shelly and Eric and, warns Shelly about, leaving because of fucking course. Duh. Then they try to get to his place, Eric's place, which has a tons of mannequins and stuff. I don't know why. It was weird. But for some reason, they were greeted by the goons. And then they were killed by asphyxiation. Oh my god. Shocker. This is where Eric wakes up and is summoned to the realm of the crows, where he becomes the crow, powers and all, and he comes back to life and kills a corrupt cop. And then he would go to the bridge and jump back into the water where him and Shelly had a conversation about, love and stuff like that. And he gets a whole explanation about both her and him can be saved, but their love has to be pure, or else, it wouldn't work. And, he has to kill the guy who's dooming her soul. So all Eric has to do is just go against the big bad and kill him along with the people involved with their deaths. And, they both can be free and live their lives back again, which makes sense. But the way the movie frames everything, the way the movie goes about this sort of goal is in some of the most lackluster ways possible. It's simple, right? He has to go ahead and take this guy down. And, he even finds one of the guys that kills him specifically. And, kills him because he tries to interrogate him in his own car and, kills him dead with one shot. And it's kind of funny because the motherfucker had a revolver and kills the guy in his car, like I said. And no one heard a thing. Like not even the other accomplices who were, soon coming out of the building that was right next to said car. And, they were coming out to go because they found the location of Dom. Then they wanted to go ahead and kill him, but they got distracted because Eric went ahead and attacked the accomplices because of course they didn't hear him initially. Right. But, they lose him and he gets ran over, but no biggie. He has Deadpool healing, so he'll be fine. So Eric does go ahead and find Dom first. How? I don't know. Well, one party has a car, he does not. And even if he used crow abilities, it wasn't even shown. So that's up in the air, and that's sort of kind of dead. So who the fuck knows? He meets Dom. Dom tells him about the video that caused this whole entire situation. And Eric goes ahead and finds the phone in the loft that him and Shelly shared, watches it, and the big bad uses his powers to make Shelly kill someone. Yeah, that's it. And, this makes Eric kind of a bitch and kind of doubt everything. Eric, you dense motherfucker. You killed 2 people and tried to kill others while, why why are you judging her when obviously she was being manipulated to kill someone? And it's not that far-fetched. You literally have healed from getting shot and being ran over and have not full nullification from damage because you can still feel the damage, but you have the powers of a god. My man, it wasn't her fault. So besides that annoying, situation, him being a bitch, he goes to his tattoo friend's place, and the place gets broken into by, guess what? The big bad goons. And, they both get killed, and, he doesn't heal for some reason. I wonder why. And he wakes up in the Crow domain expansion world, and the guy in there, who's like the mouthpiece of the Crows there, told him that he blew his chance to save both him and Shelly, and he would need to he would need to ascend to heaven now. For some reason, because he wasn't a degenerate in life before all this. I don't know. It's the rules of the movie. Who cares? So Eric now wages his spot in heaven, or reviving, whatever, right? He is willing to give his chance to Shelly and be damned himself, which is agreed on, and he is revived. Oh my god. This would have been a short movie otherwise. He brutally kills the goons and figures out that, the rest of his killers and, this guy are at an opera. And he goes on a cringy walk towards, this opera after putting like tattoo ink on his face and shit like that. Everyone was looking at him like he was a fucking psychopath. I would have called the police. I'm sitting there like, I don't trust this motherfucker over here. This motherfucker has like face paint and all this shit like it's the Purge. I'm not trusting that shit. So he gets there, goes on a killing spree, and the opera music is being played, and the music and the combat are in sync, and the music is okay too. It's opera music. I kind of like opera music. Again, the action here is especially great. This is probably like the greatest fight scene in the movie. Not many of them, but it's still fun, creative, and cool as fuck. It's visceral shit and fucking gory as fuck, and it's pretty fun to watch. So after he kills the guy who killed Shelly personally, then kills the woman who ordered everything for the big bad, he then goes to the big bad's mansion, puts a sword to this guy's throat, and they both talk a bit. I honestly don't remember what the fuck they were talking about. Then the big bad starts whispering in his ear, start giving him the whole, hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. And, yeah, he starts losing. Imagine losing because someone whispered in your ear. That's some wild shit. I swear. So then, oh my God, dear God, the memory of Shelly keeps him away from his influence. And then Eric summons, this guy. He summons his domain expansion to bring Big Bad Evil Guy to the Crow world, where Big Bad Evil Guy is sent to hell, Shelly is freed, and meets Eric for the last time. Yeah. That's this. When I first saw this, I was like, what the fuck? That's it? Like, that's it for the Big Bad Evil Guy? That's fucking it? So, yeah, the movie ends with Shelly waking up next to Eric, who died in the same, apartment, wherever the fuck they were when they both got killed. She wakes up, revived by the paramedics, and, she goes on and, to make music and, is, doing it for Eric, I guess. And I don't know if this is heaven or, the Crow reverse time or some shit. But, again, that's where the movie ends. And Eric's soul is still, within the Crow world. And I don't know. I don't know what they plan to do if they're planning a sequel. So yeah, that's where the movie ends, and it's kind of cringe. So I have questions, right? So is Eric now like the Crow guy, like who avenges the innocent? Is he like the Punisher in some, edgy way? Some guy who roots out corruption in the world? What's the deal here? Because the Crow is just a way for people who have been wronged to, right their wrong, to right the wrong that happened to them in the world, and then, go ahead and rest in peace back again. So yeah, so I don't know what they're planning to do here. Do I feel like this particular story was heart-wrenching and sad? Yes, but it wasn't an act of, it wasn't a random act of violence. It wasn't innocents being killed because, they just happened to be in the wrong place, the wrong time. They were in the path of evil. It literally was a planned event that just happened to caught up to Shelly because she didn't want to fucking leave and like escape because, for some reason they couldn't find her for like a week or two in the same fucking city. And eventually tragedy struck because of fucking course it did. Like, I don't know if his influence was that widespread, but you were literally in the same city, in the same location that you normally frequent. No fucking shit he was going to find you. Does the story here compare to the horror and tragedy and, the crazy fucked up nature of the original Eric and Shelly story? No, like it doesn't. Like it doesn't even compare to the City of Angels story where Ash and his son were killed because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, witnessing a murder. So yeah, I don't feel like it's on that level of sort of like fucked up, but it's still generally fucked up that they were killed in this way. But it could have been preventable to an extent, right? I feel like if they didn't drag on the romance building and already established it, and we see them partying, loving each other, but we see them get hit with that random act of evil that was so tragic and unjust, something had to be done. I think that could have been better than this sort of like getting caught up in something you obviously should have fucking ran away from. I don't even know why they even attempted to try to do the same sort of death scene for both of them in such a bitch way. Like, I know it's fucked up. Like, if they didn't have the balls to make it as fucked up as the original, and just add that whole like evil factor that this was just so fucked up, they should have just done something different. Like, they could have had it to where the random act of violence was between Shelly, Dom, Eric, and their close friends that they had. They all became victims of the big bad and its goons and their random act of violence because they were in the wrong place in the wrong time. Maybe at this party, and they were chosen because they were there all the time. They're young. They're full of vitality. They're innocent, for fuck's sake. And killing them all and making them go through a bunch of torment before dying, and that would be a big motivator for Eric, who has arisen because of the crow. Almost like in every crow, I only really watched the first one, the second one, kind of the third one, and I just completely just gave up on the fourth one. I'm not gonna lie. If they just had it, maybe like they always have in these movies where the crow would get like like something sentimental that they would go ahead and sort of try and get back to get like their full memories, and something that keeps that person alive physically in their hands or something like that, right? Or like something that is symbolic, right? So if they have just made it maybe to where like one of the guys is so proud of like killing people and he takes trophies, and he took a photo of Eric and all his friends and Shelly together as like their trophy, and he hunts them down, and he uses this person as a sort of like symbol that the other people are going to be hunted down and killed for what they did to the love of his life and his friends. This movie, if it was anything else but a remake of the first one, it could have worked better as a fun, dumb movie with a bit of emotion in it due to the sad nature of, the plot and, the overall motivation of the crow. This movie didn't feel truly personal, like none of the kills did, and its vengeance mainly didn't really hit that hard because it was just a means to an end due to the goal of, not just killing them because they wanted to enact some sort of like vengeance, like because they were angry, they wanted revenge, they want to enact fucking justice. It was just it was just killing out of necessity because they were just in the way. And these motherfuckers were just truly evil. If they made them truly evil, like some of these guys were just doing their job and protecting dude, but at the same time it just didn't feel truly like the crow. The Crow 2024 had an okay-ish first act, an okay second act, and a disappointing third act that started off great with their opera fight scene and ended off with just a dog shit confrontation with the big bad evil guy, which was a shame. A guy with a deal with the devil and his only power is to just raise you up to kill yourself by whispering into your ear. Yeah, that's great. This movie could have stood on its own two legs if it was just made to do so. Be a standalone in the universe and be done with it. Just make it a standalone in the universe where people can just become the crow and just enact some sort of fun bad movie. I wish it wasn't fun bad. I wish it was more compelling and loving and sad, but it was also just really enjoyable to watch because who doesn't want to see justice being enacted, right? But yeah, Bill Skarsgård does a great job. And he did a great job with what he got, but goddamn, this movie just suffers because of how loose the narrative and emotion and just the death too. It's just fucked, man. Their expansion on the crow power I feel wasn't necessary because it was always going to be a mysterious thing that helped right the wrongs of the world and doesn't need to be expanded more since that's not the main focus of the Crow series. It's exacting justice. And even if they quote unquote expanded on the Crow power, it didn't really mean shit in this movie at all because it wasn't really expanded. It was just shown more like, hey, there's this realm of crows. What about it? What the fuck? But yeah, this movie, without comparing it to the original, is like a 5 or a 6. Honestly, maybe like a 5. While when comparing it to the original, it's like a 3 essentially. Like it doesn't compare to the original, of fucking course, but there is some decent stuff here that could have been built upon. I'm not going to outright hate it because it had potential to be good. Maybe not 10 out of 10 masterpiece good, but at least a decent start for a Crow franchise, right? But yeah, unfortunately, with how it's looking now, the Crow might just be dead. Honestly, boys and girls, this movie has, you know, disappointed me. And unlike the Crow from the original and or just the Crow in general, I don't think it'll be revived anytime soon, unless it just starts going ahead and going through the animation grind or the animation route or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's just unfortunate. So with that being said, what do you guys think? Love it, hate it, mixed about it? Tell me your your thoughts and review on the movie in the comments below. Thank you so much for the support. Stay safe and healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys later.